Thank you. Well, we are so thrilled to be able to announce that we are Texas's first NCAA Division I school to offer varsity flag football for women. We are thrilled to be able to launch this sport. It's growing. Our ISD partners have been growing their teams. And with Olympics coming in 2028 and the launch of women's flag football, we felt it was just the right time to be able to start and create a pathway for those future Olympic athletes.
Media, open it for questions. Please identify yourself for asking your question.
Jay Jacinto, UTA Radio. This is for President Cowley. So with the addition of this new team, should students at UTA expect a rise in tuition payment at all?
No, not at this time. So we are anticipating that our existing resources are going to be able to help support this, and we have a number of sponsors and others that we're talking to about providing funding to help support this.
Okay, and then for the AD, there's only 5 current D1 level teams. You'll mention that the NIIA schools are also going to be potential opponents, but is there a plan in place for a potential conference play for the spring of 2027?
Sure. Women's flag football is growing exponentially across the country. It's set to become an NCAA emerging sport here in the near future. That will open up opportunities, encourage growth in the sport, and ideally we'll be the first to start major schools, Division I institutions adding the program, and we'll have a conference hopefully in a few years.
Eric, can you talk about what the impact has been on arts and ISD to this point?
Absolutely. First of all, what an exciting day. And we started our flag football this year with Arlington ISD. It's the response we've had by adding that has been really remarkable. The interest in the sport in just our first year and the amount of student athletes that are showing up to be participating in it. We added it this spring. It's been really fun to watch. It's reached some kids that maybe before hadn't participated in athletics, as well as current athletes playing. And to see it, for them to have an opportunity to continue their education at a higher level and play a sport that they enjoy is just a great opportunity right here in our own backyard.
We're so thrilled to be able to have Arlington, Dallas, Fort Worth, Cedar Hill, DeSoto, and a number of other districts in our region having all added this sport in the last few years, as well as other school districts across the state. We felt like it's just the right time. Before you know it, those students are going to be graduating and looking to continue that sport at the collegiate level.
Odessa Jenkins with the Women's National Football Conference. Anyone can answer this, but what do you think? We talked about this having an opportunity for women in the Olympics in 2028, but what do you see adding this sport to be creating an opportunity for women to create more financial opportunities in professional sports? Does this open up another avenue to see women getting paid to play professional sports?
Yeah, I think this sport has so much upside. I've been here for a couple of years, and really from day one, Dr. Cowley and I talked about potentially adding women's sports. And as we got more serious, I got to give credit to Dr. Cowley. She was the one that really said, hey, what about flag football? And it just has so much upside. I feel like it meshes well with NIL and the the new age of sport, right? And Jennifer and I decided that this was the time. Let's go ahead and get out in front of the curve and picture ourselves being a national powerhouse. We're in DFW, the best athletics in the country, and great partners, great schools in our area. Lots of great stuff in our future, I think.
And I think you watch the rise of women's sports in other sports. We're the home of the Dallas Wings right here on our campus. We've had the launch of professional women's soccer leagues, professional women's volleyball. There's no reason that flag football can't be that next wave that we see across the country. And in part, we'll help enable that by being one of the early universities to be able to offer this at the collegiate level.
We pictured the idea of here in particular, we have youth, we have college, now we're leading to the Olympics. And we feel like we're kind of completing that pathway in DFW.
Lance Liggis, UTA Radio. For either John or Dr. Cowley, you mentioned this will be played at Maverick Stadium. Does anything need to happen at the stadium in terms of new infrastructure Is there money going to be put into those facilities as well?
Yeah, we've recently put money into into that facility. We just redid our track. We're about to do a new video board to replace the old video board. We'll need to do a little bit of infrastructure, locker room work, things like that. But a flag field generally is about numbers to numbers, 20 to 20 yard line. And so it fits nicely in the footprint anyway. So other than that, we just need to go get out there and start throwing and catching.
I'm Max Paulson, UTA Radio. What sort of impact are you looking for this to have on the future of sports at UTA and just the school in general?
A couple of years ago, our students voted to increase the number of women's sports at UTA. And so we listened to our students, and we've been planning and saying, what's the right women's sport that we want to add? And as we evaluated the options and looked at what was happening in the local school districts, women's flag football really rose to the top. It was something that we could readily do in existing facilities, growing demand from young women who are competing at the sport at the high school level, and a natural fit for UTA.
John, can we talk about the timeline of next steps within the process for the program?
Sure. I think we'll turn our attention pretty quickly here to truly adding the sport, the logistics. Start looking for coaches, come the fall, start recruiting. We have some rec flag football on campus. We'll start campus tryouts and look at that and recruit our first class and start playing in spring of 2027.
Any additional questions?
John, in the fact sheet, you mentioned that this wasn't really, the first step towards any kind of men's football.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also say that to come in line, several women's sports have to be formed. So maybe it is kind of a precursor.
Sure. I think, again, I can't speak exactly for Dr. Cowley, but from what we talk about wanting to be the best we can in our current sports portfolio. Adding women's flag football is a step in advancing that portfolio. And if we are ever going to add football, if that ended up in our future, we would need to be a bit more balanced from a Title IX perspective. And so adding women's sports makes sense at this time.
There are no immediate plans. Our focus is on women's flag football, making that a signature sport at UTA, being highly competitive and successful, and that is independent of any decision related to men's sports.